I would like to call the November 20th, 2024 Business Committee meeting to order. Item B, roll call.
Ms. Buffy Lynn Sharpenshank.
Here.
Mr. Clyde Duplantis.
Here.
Ms. Leslie Wells.
Here. Thank you. Item 2, insurance. To consider the medical plan reinsurance renewal as presented by Buddy Leday with Gallagher Benefit Services. Mr. Leday.
Thank you. Okay, I'll make this quick, guys. So this is the last piece to what we typically will do on this. So we have already chosen our network. We're going to remain with Blue Cross Blue Shield. We chose our pharmacy program another year with Elixir. We've chose our Medicare program another year with Humana. So now it's the reinsurance. And the reinsurance always is the last thing to come because they want to see claims information. They want to see ongoing things, and they want to make a determination of what they should be charging you for reinsurance to protect you guys from major liabilities. I have good news and I got bad news. Ms. Marion always says I got a way of making bad news sound good. So the bad news is that there is an increase, and there is some very large ongoing claims that are going on right now. In our negotiation process, and I want to give good credit to Ms. Delilah Bodwin on my team. She handles a lot of the reinsurance negotiations. We got a renewal from your current carrier, which was BCS. BCS came back with a rate increase, if you combine with the administrative costs, of about 5.52% total fixed cost for next year. That included a $600,000 laser. And what we've talked about before is a laser is a person who is sick with ongoing illness that they're going to have a higher specific deductible than the rest of the group. So the rest of the group's at $300,000. Once they hit that, then reinsurance kicks in and you don't pay anything. They wanted to put a $600,000 laser on this individual. We went back to them and they were waiting for more data to come in or competitive quotes. And Delilah felt strongly that this was going to be the best we were going to get. And she and I looked through some claims data and we made the decision, advised to let BCS know that we wanted to lock in, if possible, a verbal commitment to them if they would reduce that laser. So what they came back with is they reduced that $600,000 laser to $450,000 at the rates they were given. The reason that was so important is because when we did get everything back in, we got one quote from Accessory that included four lasers of $675,000, $425,000, $425,000, and $1 million on 4 individuals, and a 12% increase, which is more than double the increase you were getting from BCS. We also got declined to quotes from ISU, Optum, Sun Life, Symetra, WellPoint, Voya, HCC, and HM, all declined to quote group. That's bad news. The good news is that we were able to lock in BCS before they saw more data and before they saw their competitors with much higher quotes and more lasers. So had we not done that, we are confident there would have been more lasers and higher rates. We're going to recommend to go ahead and renew with BCS. Total increase of about $80,000 in total fixed cost for next year, which is about 5.52% compared to current, and that'll take us through the end of next year.
Can I get a motion? Mr. Duplantis, second by Ms. Wells. Any comment from the public? Any board discussion? Hearing none, we can vote. Thank you.
Delilah was on top of this one.
Motion carries.
So,
Thank you.
Yes, all right. Before you leave, so I probably leave. I say something. I attended one of the Medicare meetings.
yeah, unanimous.
By Humana, and Buddy was there. Thank you very much. Great attendance here at the one in Culture, as you know. A lot of people may be misinformed because they talk to other people, friends, and compare. What they presented is what we have. So thank you for that presentation. We're very fortunate as colleagues and 65-year-old, soon to be 65-year-old people on the insurance coverage that we have provided by the Ridge Parish School System. So thank all of us. Thank Buddy for fighting for that and getting us at least locked in for another year, correct?
Correct.
Awesome, very
Yes,
good.
thank you. It was a good, well-attended meeting. I did attend the one in Thibodeau, the other one to the other. Miss Brittany Prestonbach was there as well to help answer a lot of questions. I think the people who went felt good when they left of what they had, and they felt better informed about what may be to come, which it's preparing people for what may be to come. And the discussion, there was discussions about, there'll be decisions to make as we move forward of do we keep what we have and potentially pay more? Do we go out to bid and potentially pay less for something different? And so that's going to be something we're going to have to look at closely next year. But for the time being, we're very fortunate to get another year in a rate guarantee, because there are districts, and Mr. Martin could probably call a few superintendents, that Medicare programs are going up 50, 60, 70%. We got one more year of it locked in. So the other thing I want to say on that too is one of the big reasons that they're going up so much is because they're being forced to improve their plans. Your plan is already well beyond the threshold that it needs to be, which is positive. The plan that these retirees have is beyond phenomenal, and that was reiterated multiple times. So.
And I was at the retiree luncheon today and meeting, and everybody that went really had a lot of good things to say about it.
It was a good meeting, and thank Miss Brittany and the staff. She was there, and she does a great job on the retirees to call her office. She tends to handle it herself, but she gets to us, and we can help out when we can too, and our doors are always open. So, yep. All right.
Thank you, Betty, for
All right,
the
guys.
information and for your effort.
Yep, no problem.
Moving on to finance. Item A, to consider approving the Microsoft license renewal. Ms. Lacey McKinney.
Good evening. This is to renew our current contract that expires at the end of December. The bulk of it is for each employee to have the Microsoft Exchange email, and it covers all the Office products. It also covers our operating system of 10 servers. And we get, because we have the first line item for all our employees, we get the 20,000 student licenses for free. Also the 1,000 that's used for bus drivers, paras, and cafeteria workers. And then we also have the SQL server, which is used to store and manage our data between programs. And we couldn't find if we're not licensed with that.
Thank you. Any comments from the public? I'm sorry, I need a motion. Mr. Duplantis, second by Ms. Wells. Any public comment? Any board discussion? If not, let's vote. Motion carries. Item B, to consider extending the subscription services for student data collection software and take appropriate action. Once again, Ms. McKinney.
This is for the renewal of school status. It's a program that allows our school staff to text and call parents. It keeps a log of all communication. It also allows mass communication from the district when the spoken wants to send out a text to all the parents. And the employees utilize an app or a website so their personal phone number is not released. Part of that policy we brought up.
Thank you. And get a motion. Mr. Duplantis, second by Ms. Wells. Any public comment or discussion? I'm a big fan of school status. Every parent that I've had conversation with really enjoys the communication. I like it because I keep my child on his toes, because I know when tests are coming up, because at the middle school level especially, teachers will kind of notify you, and I'm sure it's like that in elementary as well, like, hey, we're working towards this, and we have a test tomorrow, and so it just kind of keeps parents aware of what their children are working on, and the ability to communicate with the teacher and maintaining that teacher privacy, I think is really significant, and I appreciate it. All right, we can take a vote. Motion carries. Item C, to receive reports on bids for chiller boiler equipment and take appropriate action. Ms. Jennifer Fontana.
This is the first time we've done a bid for the children boilers. We did identify throughout the district that we have, a lot of these. So our goal and our objective with this bid was to tackle our emergency needs as well as some preventative maintenance. So I'd like to, make a recommendation to award the bid based on the most responsive and responsible lowest bidder, and then also to, based on availability, because we do have two vendors that we can utilize for this.
Motion by Ms. Wells, second by Mr. Duplantis. Public comment or comment? If none, let's vote. Motion carries. Item D, to receive reports on bids for grass cutting services and take appropriate action. Ms. Fontana.
This is Brown requesting approval to award the highest, most responsive and responsible bidder for grass cutting services, and this would be for the whole district for a 5-year contract.
We get a motion? Ms. Wells, second Mr. Duplantis. Public comment or? Ms.
Greenscapes, okay. I didn't see it, okay, now I see it.
And to speak to that, this bid was put out by Mr. Bias's office. We broke the district up into 3 sections and allowed all of the respective grass cutters bid on all 3 independently. And Greenscapes was scored by her team as the lowest, most responsible for all 3 sections. And so this is a shift in services being provided now, because right now I believe Greenscapes is doing 2 of the 3 sections, and now they will be doing all 3.
Any other? Let's vote. Motion carries. Item E, to receive the monthly budget to actual report for all major funds for the period through October 31st, 2024. Ms. Chastity, you know.
Good evening. So again, we are proceeding with the major funds as were stated in our 2023-2024 audit. The general fund, the 1995 sales tax salary restricted fund, the salary supplement fund, and the 2021 construction fund, and the hurricane recovery fund. The 2021 construction funds were reported to the Land and Facilities Committee. Activity through the month ending October 31st, 2024. As indicated on page 3 of the statement, 29.9% of the revenue budgeted has been received for a total of $34,774,969. Of this amount, $26.3 million is from the minimum foundation program funding. As indicated on page 20 of the statement, 75.8% of the expenditures budgeted has been expended or obligated for a total of $119,656,430. And just in case you compare your September statement to this October statement, there was a slight decrease in expenditures, and that was due to our ESSER stipends. When we issued them, we just issued them against the general fund, and then we moved the funds to ESSER. So that's why there was a decrease. The 1995 sales tax salary restricted fund, as indicated on page 21, we have received 17.1% of the revenue budgeted, totaling $3,002,934, and 73.9% of the expenditures budgeted, totaling $7,260 has been expended. The salary supplement fund, as indicated on page 23, we've received 0.6% of the revenue budgeted, totaling $36,649, and 1.4% of the budgeted expenditures totaling $2,882 has been expended. We should be seeing some revenues flow into this particular fund when ad valorem payments start being made.
Thank you very much. Item F, to receive a financial report on Hurricane Ida response and recovery to date. Ms. Email?
So your report for the period ending October 31st indicates the following. The amount expended and encumbered for Hurricane Ida expenditures was $122,976,306. The total amount received from FEMA in October of 2024 was $1,176,059 for a total aggregate reimbursement of $52,539,920. Of the aggregate amount received, we have returned or started to pay on our interest and loan proceeds, $2,539,920. The total amount submitted for reimbursement and the total amount obligated by FEMA is $76,127,159.
Item 4, transportation. To receive a report of the transportation events from the previous month. Turning it over to Mr. Chris Arnold.
So we recently acknowledged we had 43 drivers have perfect attendance in the month of October, which is something that's the importance of attendance and how critical bringing our kiddos to school and to home each day is. So I challenged them to increase that number for November, so we shall see what that looks like. We recently, the 2 weeks prior to this week, held a training class at South Lafourche High School to target that area. Hopefully it would be more convenient for them to attend. We had 4 participants. One has already been employed and begins tomorrow. The other 3 are in the works. The one employed to begin tomorrow is in the Golden Meadow area, so that's a good thing. The other 3 remaining, one is slated for the Lockport area and the other 2 for DTB to assist in that area. So we have another one on the books for the end of January, again in the South Lafourche area to focus on that area in greatest need, and then in June we'll host the one in the central area during the summer that'll hopefully be convenient for others as well. So we recently had two drivers notify us of their retirement in January, so kudos to them. So and losing a couple, we're gaining a couple as well. So we have three drivers slated to start on tomorrow, and then the 2 I think upon our return from Thanksgiving break. With another 3 in the pipeline from that class in South Lafourche, or at South Lafourche High School. We're getting there. In conversations today with the Angel Tracks company, which is the camera systems, we're tentatively booked to begin, hopefully, late January with installations. They've informed me that it doesn't necessarily need to be done during a holiday where the buses aren't in operation, but rather in between morning and afternoon shifts. So hopefully we can coordinate those to be a seamless transition, have those things operable for our buses and for our schools and parents as well. So that's the bulk of what's been going on in the world of transportation.
Just out of curiosity, are y'all you think the drivers are excited about the Angel Tracks? Like, you think it'll be like part of a retention? Like,
I'm hopeful. So I have a meeting the second week in which we return from Thanksgiving break with our lead drivers to kind of inform them more of what it's going to look like, what a rollout may potentially look like, but then trickle down to all of our drivers. But look, they know the importance of those camera systems, for self-assurance in their own regard, and then for investigation purposes. So it's definitely something they're excited about, of what they know so far.
Chair, if I may.
Yes.
On the retention front, I actually made a note to email all of you, but I'm kind of excited about that. I'm more excited because Chris led me to believe today that we may be able to pull this off. We really have a goal of getting back to 2 routes for our drivers instead of 3. The elementary route is the hard route to pull off because that's when we have the highest ridership. It's a matter of really merging the middle school and high schools to be the same route, which is what we did back before we had to go into the financial constraints that require us to go down or expand to 3 routes. Right? So we were able to cut drivers. That's how we save money. But with 2 routes, we can back up that high school and middle school time to make it where kids are not being picked up at the time they're being picked up right now. Right now, we've got high school kids being dropped off at 6:40 in the morning. That means they're being picked up 6 a.m. That means they're waking up at 5 a.m. And these are teenagers that are exhausted.
And even earlier, as Salafuch High School has began taking them at 6:30 because of the implementation of the EVOL system, the weapon detection system.
We just keep pushing everything forward, and it's frankly gotten ridiculous. And so I've tasked him to try and come up with a 2-route system. We don't know exactly the number of drivers we need to get to, but it's going to be north of 100. Now, Ms. Hingel has been budgeting a number that frankly was more than we've been staffing for a while, so it is in the budget to pull this one. But it's a lofty goal, and if Chris pulls it off, I will be eternally grateful.
I think that's going to be really appreciated, like you said, especially at the high school level. The kids are tired, and especially we have so many students right now who are involved in so many activities that their window of opportunity for sleep is tiny. You know, they're getting home after athletic and music events and having to study and waking up at that hour in the morning. It's just precious sleep.
And good for bus driver
Yeah.
retention, because 2 routes is much better. We know how long they're working right now to do all three. It's a long day for a driver.
Yeah, and it won't be as insanely early for them because they're even waking up earlier than the kids.
Correct.
Yes.
The scary part too is that, because I see kids, I'm up and around at 6:30 in the morning, and to see these kids out there, well, earlier than that really, see these kids out there waiting for the bus. It's really scary to see them, you know.
Yeah, I've seen
During
middle school
the
kids
day.
at 6:30 in the morning.
During the time frames when it's dark,
Right,
that's
very dark.
really scary. Yeah. All right, thank you. Any other conversation? All right, with no further business,